Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the DJ Sessions presents the Virtual Sessions. I'm your host Darren, and right now I'm sitting in the virtual studios in Seattle, Washington, and coming in all the way from St. Louis, we have Harry the Big Dog with the interview show. Harry, how you doing today?
I am good. How are you today?
I'm doing, tech things aside, I am doing pretty dang good. Weather's good. I'm feeling good. Keyboard is not feeling so
Yeah.
good.
The tech gods are not with you today, huh?
They're half and half today, but it's always something in the studio, that can go wrong. But suffice to say, it's new keyboard day.
Mm. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so you're coming in from St. Louis, and you do a show called the DJ Interview. Is that correct?
Correct. It's correct.
Awesome. So tell us the premise. What's the premise of that show? What do you do?
Base, Basically, the show is about DJs. And I want DJs to tell their story before somebody else tells their story. There is, us DJs were it back in the day, and somehow it just faded to nothing where we don't get that respect. Without the DJs, music don't get played.
Yeah.
Spotify, all of them, they play music, but they don't mix music. They don't break music like we do.
Absolutely, absolutely. I've been in the nightlife scene myself for about 32 years now,
Nice.
and I mean, growing up as a kid, getting into clubs at 16 years old, and it wasn't really. I mean, I didn't understand. I knew that DJs got behind the DJ booth. DJs played music when I was a kid, but they weren't the focal point necessarily of the event, or stages weren't built out for them. At that, there were not where I was at in Seattle. There were
Right.
some clubs, but it wasn't like they weren't the superstar. I mean, the first nightclub I went to, the DJ was up in a booth up in the corner. He could
Nobody even
oversee the
seen them.
floor and see what was going on, but you didn't really see the booth and what was going on.
Right.
Dance when the club was what was going on. And then, the first rave that I ever went to, the DJ was kind of up in these big rafters, up in like almost 30 feet up in the air, looking down over the floor, doing their thing. So, you know, as I progressed in
Mm-hmm.
more and more nightclubbing, the DJ became more and more of that spectacle on stage performer that we saw. And this is, I mean, 96. Well, no, I mean, we're going back to 92, 93, 94, 95,
Mm-hmm.
96. Up until 96, 97, that DJ did start, sometimes they'd be put off in the corner and they
Right.
did, but then this stage presence DJ started to kind of make its way in around 97.
Mm-hmm.
And, but then
Now,
again, the technology wasn't there. There was, what did
right.
we use to listen to music? Was there music online. There was no iTunes. There was no iPod. I mean,
It
we
was the
still have
DJ with
CDs.
vinyl records and
Yeah,
tapes and everything.
yeah. So I
C-
mean,
CDs
that's
was out the time you're talking about,
yep.
but I'm
And
I'm talking about way back from in the 70s with
yeah,
in New York. Now I'm from New York,
uh,
in the Bronx where hip hop was born. We
oh yeah,
claiming that.
yeah.
And the DJ was it. The DJ was the focal point at all
Mhm.
the street jams in the parks. The DJ was it, and then it started to shift to where, like you're saying, the DJ was now up in the booth and not really being seen. And then the
Mhm.
MCs came out and they started to take over.
Mhm. Now, is your show? Does it primarily focus on just hip hop music, or rap,
No,
or is it focused on any style of genre, any
any
genre?
style of DJing,
Awesome.
any style.
And you have guests on. How often do you produce an episode? How often does an episode come out?
I just started back yesterday to as of today of this taping, yesterday I came back for another season, episode 90.
Yeah,
So
congratulations.
thank you. What I attempt to do, and I had to take a little hiatus because you know as well, this thing can burn you out, this whole interview thing. So I took a little hiatus and came back, like I said, yesterday, as of the airing of this episode that we're doing right now. And I go on Tuesdays at 8ish Eastern time.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. And are those live interviews or are those
Yes,
okay?
all of them are live.
Awesome.
All of
Yeah.
them are live.
We just recently switched over after years of doing pre-recorded interviews. I mean, unless we were in the studio and the person was live and we had the DJs playing in the studio and we were streaming live. But we just started doing this live interview format probably in the last 3 months, and I love it.
Yes.
You know,
You see the immediate action. So, one of my boys is saying, Harry the Big Dog, Edenwald Projects is where I'm from. What's up? That's instant.
yeah, let's
I love the live aspect of this.
exactly. And that's one of the things that I fell in love with after going from public access television, working on a hip hop show back in 92 to about 2000, going into broadcast television, coming into podcasting in 2005, and then getting into live streaming around 2007, but fully fledged live streaming in 2009. The interactivity that you can get right there. Here we go. Because it was combined with the socials. So like right now you got this going out on your Facebook. You've paired our stream to your Facebook channel to make it go out. Even we can give Justin Hodge, give a shout out, Justin Hodge, bro.
Jason.
Oh, Jason. I'm sorry, Jason. I read that too fast. Jason Hodge, Jason. Whoa. We can bring that right into the show, and it's live. And that was one of the things that got me hooked into live streaming. But everything we do on the back end is a podcast series. Everything we do goes up to iTunes, Spotify, Anchor, iHeart, all the like 70 different places out there,
right?
Because people can pick their own flavor where they want to find us, whatnot. But yeah, so we got kind of a two-pronged live streaming approach, interactive approach, and then obviously the podcast approach. Which I loved about the podcasting over broadcast television is when somebody subscribed to your show, the new episodes would just come right into their computer, feed right into their iPod video or their iPhone, and they could just take them on the go. And now, whenever they walk into a Wi-Fi place, if they're on Wi-Fi and we got a new episode up, it'll bring that new episode right into their phone.
Nice.
So
I'm just getting into the podcast thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm already on iHeart.
Nice.
And a couple of other ones, Google.
Mm-hmm.
And working on the Apple Podcasts and all the rest of them. Just getting into it. I might as well do something with these 90 episodes.
And all are your episodes, are they audio or are they video, or is it
they're video. They're video. I do a video podcast, but we can strip the audio and upload the audio only.
I would recommend looking into a company called Podbean if I were you.
Podbean. Okay.
You'll love them. You'll find out exactly why.
Okay.
Basically, I'll just give you a hint. They're one of the best companies I found out there for video podcast hosting, and very, very relatively priced. A lot of people can't beat or compare to their pricing. There's a lot of back end features that help you get listed in a lot of other places. Apple being one of them. All right from there, they have a nice interface. They have back end. Back end interface. You can basically have almost your own website up and running, but not your own website. It's still their platform, but you can take it and embed their player in other places. And I found Podbean has been my go-to for the last, oh my gosh, what year are we in? We're 4 years, four and a half years. But I used to host with GoDaddy in the past, and they after about 6 times of them slapping me on the wrist for doing over 90 terabytes of data on a $15 account. 90 terabytes of data. And remember, we were trying to get our shows to be less than 300 megabytes video file.
Wow.
Yeah, 90 terabytes, 90 to 120 terabytes a month.
Ah.
Yeah, they didn't like that too much.
Wait, say the name one more time. Podcast Bean, you say?
Podbean.
Podbean. Jason,
Podbean.
Jason, are you still listening? Podbean. Write that
Podbean, yeah.
down.
Especially if you're doing video podcasts, it's kind of the
Yeah.
way to go. Very, very awesome, very supportive team over there. I got a lot of tips and tricks I could give people over the years. I've been doing podcasting for 17 years now.
Oh,
So,
nice.
yeah, we were one of the first video podcasts in the iTunes store. So, like I said, podcasting is a huge backbone support. Our website is run off of podcasting, basically, to feed in our shows. It's really awesome stuff. But, you got a good thing going, 90 episodes.
Yeah.
90 episodes. And, that is a feat in itself because, we were talking a little bit pre-show. And, I used to come pre-2020. A lot of people, they weren't into this podcast. Podcasting and live streaming were kind of a niche kind of thing. And there were lots of people doing it, but not a lot of people doing it. Once 2020 hit, and I call 2020 the look at me year, every DJ I knew in the world jumped online.
Can you believe that? Every one of them jumped
Everyone jumped on. And then podcasting doubled, if not tripled, in numbers of people saying, I got an idea. I want to talk on a microphone. I'm stuck at home. I'm doing Zoom meetings. Why can't I do a podcast and talk to my camera at home and do a podcast series? I gave out so much advice in the first half of 2020 that I kind of started saying, hey, if you're really serious about this, will you get to 100 episodes? Now I know you're kind of serious about it.
Now you're serious, yeah.
I have no problem helping people out. But,
right. Yeah.
I want to make sure that
now, Darren, how many of those millions of people are still left?
Exactly.
Now that the world kind of opened back up.
And that was my saying in early 2020 when people are asking me, oh, what do you think is going to happen? And I'm like, you're going to see a 60 to 80% rise in creator content. You're going to see a 60 to 80% rise in creator in content consumption, people watching this stuff, because we're all stuck at home.
Yeah.
Well, we're not stuck at home anymore. What do you think we're going to want to do? We're going to want to get back outside.
Right.
We're going to limit that to maybe 1 or 2 movies a day, or binge watch a couple shows, not all day long. In
not the whole season.
Whole season right there. And so you saw that coming. I did see that coming. But, again, it is no small feat to get your first 100 episodes through the door. And you've only been doing this for how long now?
I actually started June of 2020.
Okay. Yeah, right in the middle of it all. So
right in the middle. And
about you're hitting that 2-year mark,
yes,
consistently producing an episode a week.
Yep.
That's the biggest thing when people ask me what advice could I give them, is say, one of the things I say is be consistent.
Yes.
If you have your audience, they know. And I think, Jason, we're going to say it again, Podbean.
Yeah.
I missed that. But, be consistent in what you're doing. And that's the one thing that keep it up. So tell me about some of the guests that you had on your show. Who is one of the most notable guests?
You may know of. Are you familiar with Nasty Ness and
definitely
GMS?
know Ness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up.
I got to interview them.
Listen to Ness. I actually interviewed Ness at KCMU when it was at the University of Washington back in. Gosh, was I even 21 yet? I might have been 20 years old. I think I might have been 20 or 20 years old. We were in the studio with Ness. There's actually footage of me online with the Cool Out Network interviewing Ness. Yeah, way back in the day. Oh gosh, yeah.
I got to interview him. I did a couple of West Coast people.
Mm-hmm.
Grand Mixer DXT, which a lot of people may know from the song Rocket. He's one of them pioneers that helped hip hop get out in the world. Mm-hmm. And a lot of local DJs. I wasn't really concentrating on your big name people because when you're first starting, nobody wants to mess with you. I'm not sure how many episodes you have right now, but at the beginning, if you don't know people like that,
it's very funny how we took it. My DJ show, the DJ sessions, was supposed to start out with interviewing the DJ for about 3 to 4 or 5 minutes. We start this on Wednesdays. They'd play a set, and then they do a post interview. Rinse, wash, repeat for the next 3 hours. It'd be a 4 hour series. But I also was coming right out of a broadcast television series that I produced, launched at NBC here in Seattle.
Okay.
And I'd gone out to Miami, and a friend of mine connected me with some very large names out there with a PR agent that represented some very
You
large.
had a hookup.
I had a hookup, and so I did these interviews with these names. Well, later that year, when I had started the DJ sessions, one of those artists by the name of Dave Dresden, huge, phenomenal artist, had a huge career, like Gabriel and Dresden. He was coming to Seattle, and I just said, "Hey, we're doing this new live streaming thing. Do you think it'd be cool if Dave came by the studio and did an interview?" And I went for broke and said, and played a set. The studio was in my bedroom. My bed was a foot and a half away from the DJ booth. And Dave, he said, yes, Dave, I'd love to come by into this show. Right there. And I was featuring locals for about 2 months before this. And Dave Dresden came over and said, I'm watching. I go, okay, I'm on to something here. Yeah. So it really just comes down to, you're right. When do you hit that point of where you feel you want to reach out to somebody who might just be a C level or a B level?
Right.
And how do I connect with that A level persona? And I'll tell you, most artists are pretty cool. I mean, obviously, if you have to run through a gatekeeper, if you have to run through a PR company, they might say, okay, what's your reach? What's your viewer? But nowadays, when you look at it on the internet, and if you can get your name connected to something on the internet, it helps no matter what.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, they might vet it. You look like you got a good production setup behind you. I don't know is that a green screen or is there some LEDs behind you?
No, it's some LEDs.
Oh, it's some LEDs. That's what
right on the floor there.
They look great. No, it looks great. It looks great. I couldn't tell if it was green screen or not. And they can see the production level of your show. They might want to know who you've had on the show in the past. But the saying for me, and it always has been, was when doing this type of stuff, you miss 100% of the shots you never take.
Yep.
And so you kind of just go for broke. And it was a few months ago that we ramped up our outreach from 40 contacts a week, 40 requests a week, to 300 requests a week.
Wow.
Yeah. And we looked at it as kind of, it's a numbers game. Well, we've been doing this for a while. And this is like kind of one of my full-time jobs.
Yeah.
So I've had to set my schedule so I don't burn out. But I actually did in 1 month. I think a few months back, I did 56 interviews in 1 month, 47 interviews the next month. Wow. Now we're set on a pattern to be doing about 30 to 40 interviews a month.
And they're all going to be live?
All of them live.
Oh, that's
all of them live,
so
and then edited.
dope.
Yeah, and our mechanism had to be put into place so that we could edit them the same day, get them over to my team that can then publish them and get them up to the different places. So it's just been a work in process. But I was doing a lot of this on my own for up until almost last year. I had one assistant that I brought on in 2020 that was doing interview outreach for me. So he was trying to get me booked on other shows.
Okay.
And it wasn't until I got.
Well, you definitely got to come to the DJ.
Yeah, I would love to be on your show. And it's just a growing process. And there's a lot of tools and a lot of resources out there. But don't be afraid to knock on those doors and ask people to come on board. Especially if you see a show. One way here's my advice is, if there's a DJ that's opening for a bigger DJ, get that DJ on your show. And then see if you can't get to the show and, hey, who's the contact here? Or who's the promoter? The promoter usually, I found out the promoter usually doesn't have control over the press for the artist, though. It's better just to go to the press directly. And now that it used to be a website and the gatekeeper, PR, most of these artists, they manage their own Instagram, their own TikTok, their own Facebook, their own Twitter. Hit them up on the back end and send a PM and be like, yo, you're coming to town. Would love to do an interview with you before the show to talk about it, to promote it to my audience, because I'm a local guy. We'll be talking to you on this local show. And then be like, hey, if it helps to get more people to the show and sell more tickets, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
So, you never know.
You never know, and you absolutely right. One of the guys here, DJ Howie D. Ooh, let me get that right.
Dean.
He I interviewed him through another DJ who's a bigger person, DJ Lady D Wells.
Hmm.
She's a bigger known person in the New York area.
Hmm.
So, I reached out to her and was like, can you do some referrals? And it just snowballed. So yes, you're absolutely right. Jason is in the Seattle area. I don't know how
Jason's in
far.
Lakewood. Just I know where Lakewood is, Jason. Thank you. I appreciate it. Tight interview. Thank you.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would love to have be on Mastering Your Media, the series as well. This is
Oh yeah,
networking. This is what
that's me and
happens during.
Jason's
Oh,
other show.
that's another
That
show you do. Okay, well,
Yeah,
let's get me on both
I do
shows.
about three. Yeah, we'll get you on both because
Yeah, and that's just I do consultation and helping people grow is kind of one of my mantras as well. Pre 2020, it was 98% of the information I'll give away for free. After 2020, when everyone wanted to start becoming my competitor, I started
right.
saying 97% of the information I'll give away for free. Y'all gonna start paying me if you want to be my competitor
For
now.
real.
But no, it's a fun thing, and it sounds like you have a passion for the game, and you want to stay in touch. You want to share other people's stories, and like you said, before you get to know them. That was one of the premises of our show originally, is finding DJs before they became really big, and we were
Yeah.
the first ones to talk to them.
Now,
I
now,
think,
Darren, the
yeah.
DJs that I interview, they range from being well known
Hmm.
to your local DJ that been doing it for 40 years.
Yeah.
And nobody knows them outside of their little area. Not even like in the New York, they go by boroughs.
Yeah,
The
Burroughs.
the
Yeah.
Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, Staten Island. So you got a DJ from the Bronx, and they don't know nobody in the next borough, or that person has never heard of them.
Yep.
And I wanted to bring this thing just close. Now this idea came in 2013 about the DJ interview. I wrote it all out. I got logos in the whole nine and let it sit on the shelf for 7 years. 7 years. And
You
then this
know,
virus came out and it just happened. I'm like, wow, I could start this because DJs ain't doing nothing right now, so I'll be able to get them.
the one thing that's amazing too is you got to remember your reach for your show. It's not just local either. It can go international. I mean,
It
we
has.
have audiences in Indonesia. We have audiences in Africa. We got audiences in Greece.
Yeah.
In Australia. All over the world that watch us and tune in. And it's kind of that amazing phenomenon, and that's why I abandoned the broadcast television, go after and become a TV star model, and
Right.
almost become an internet star or an internet brand
Ah,
model because
DJ Level Kev. I interviewed him yesterday. What
like
great interview.
awesome. And the thing is that you can make your show as serious as you want it, you can make it as fun as
Hmm.
you want it, but the thing is, just make sure you have fun with it, is kind of the whole
Oh
backbone.
yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
if you could have a dream guest on your series, who would
Ah,
that
that's
be?
hard. That's hard because I got like 50 dream guests.
I know, I
I
know, I
got
know. I
ah.
yeah.
I
I'm only asking you that
I'd
question.
love to talk
Yeah.
to Jazzy Jeff.
Jazzy Jeff. Yeah.
I'd love to talk to him just to, chop it up. And my interview style is similar like yours.
Hmm.
We just having a conversation.
Yeah.
And I love that aspect and to have a conversation with that type of status. But we also have cool DJ Red Alert. He's got almost 50 years of stories. We'd have to do a 10-part series on him because he's got so much
Yeah.
content.
Yeah, it's
Ah,
sometimes it is difficult with these larger name DJs to know where to go, or
yeah,
people where to talk when they have such a lengthy career. Usually I try to keep more current events for myself, but we'll talk about some past stuff.
yeah.
But I was talking with Cut Chemist earlier this year, last
Oh,
year.
another one. Would love to talk to
Yeah,
that dude.
and man, I was in the middle of it. I'm like, where do I start? Where do I begin? I had my questions, but he's like, man, dropping stuff. He's going all the way back, like 30 years, and I'm like, wow, I wasn't prepared for that. Okay, let's move forward. But you know, it can be some fun stuff. But everyone always, when they ask me who I want to get, is I'm trying to
ask.
Still trying to work to get Carl Cox on the show.
Okay, not familiar with the name.
Pretty big, pretty prominent, world renowned DJ. Like he is the man when it comes to like electronic music, doing electronic music, pioneering electronic music, and being out there. Yeah, Carl's pretty big. We're still working on the bigger names. We still are working on the bigger names ourselves. You know, it's always a thing, and you might get them once, but then another year later, they're like, "Sorry, I'm too busy. You know, can't get them on. I got too much going on." It's like, dang, but at least I got them one time. You know.
Yeah, and you could brag about it, and you got it on video.
Well, yeah, exactly. And I was just thinking recently. I don't know if you do this with your shows. Do you have people do the shout outs like, "Hi, I'm Darren, and you're watching the DJ interview"?
No, I don't. Right? I'll be so wrapped up in the interview and getting their story, I never even ask. But thank you, because I'm gonna start asking.
What's that? Is that the radio plug? What's that called? There's a name for that.
A drop.
A drop. Yeah, drop. Yeah. So I was thinking about doing that recently, but then I'm always thinking, well, I already had him in the interview for like an hour. So do I really need to get the drop when I'm sitting here talking to him? And one of the things we're looking to get back to as well is the in-person interview.
Yeah.
You know, 2.5 years ago, people were not really ready for Zoom or live streaming interviews. Their background wouldn't be set up. They'd be all jittery from the phone. Now everyone knows, set up the green screen, set up your backdrop, get better lighting, make sure your microphone works. You know, and they're ready for it now. And I thought that was very advantageous for people who were starting out,
right?
We're all they're at the same level, or for people who had been doing it for a while. And I'm like, oh God, it looks like crap. Oh,
I know.
What do I do? And it sounds like crap. What do I do?
I get people tell me that there's like, why you look like an HD and your host look like a recopied VHS tape.
We were talking about the technology before, just switching over from Zoom to Restream. You see the blue outline that I have. That's not my technology. I could have a 4K camera, lights camera. I got lights camera action here.
Right.
I have the highest grade camera, but it's their green screen, blue screen, alpha key, chroma key technology. It's kind of making it all like
powering your background.
Yeah, it's powering my background. So hopefully they can.
It's funny. I just happen to have the lights the same hue as this interview area.
I love it. I will be getting a new upgraded studio here soon, but we have our mobile studio. We're going back out on the road here in October. So
nice.
I'm excited just to be back on the red carpet again. We have some really prominent things we're going to be doing. And that's another thing. Get out to those events and grab a little camera. You don't got to spend a lot of money to get a big bang for your buck and come back and you could be doing a segment right here. And I can click segments and I could add a source and add a video in right now. Say, let's check out that video right now. I can do that with OBS. In the live, say, this was me on the street. Boom, to take that segment and run it for 15 minutes, have a cup of water, a beer, glass of wine, whatever it is, come back and boom, it's right back to the interview. And my live streaming audience is like, whoa, what just happened there? And we're live producing something that a
lot of people still don't understand what this is. And when I explain it to them, it's like, okay, I have to break it down. You ever watch CNN and see all the people in the corner and the lower thirds and all of that? I said, that's what I do. That person in the background. Because I also produce other shows too, as opposed to my show and me and Jason's show.
Yeah, it wasn't up until 2020 when I would have the conversation with people. I say, I do a live streaming DJ show. We put DJs on and stream them live, and they go, why would anyone want to watch that? Wouldn't I go to a nightclub if I want to watch a DJ play? I go, have you ever listened to the radio before?
It's like that.
Yeah, it's like that.
but visual
video. Well, why would I want to do that? I don't know, maybe because they might be dancing funny or doing something, and you can interact with them and talk with them when the show is live too. Well, that sounds cool. And then I go, well, where do I find it? I go, well, we're on this place called Twitch. This is 2018. We're on this thing called Twitch.
Right.
And they go,
what's that?
What's Twitch? I go, okay, well, you know this company, you know this thing called YouTube that's owned by Google? There's this thing called Twitch, which is pretty much run by Amazon. Oh, wow. They must be pretty big. How come I've never heard of them? Because you don't get online, because you don't watch DJs
get online
long
enough
to know. And then after 2020, everyone's like, oh, wow, live streaming DJ show on Twitch. Wow, I've seen those. I've watched those. My friends do this. I watch music. My friends watch music. We all do this. So it was really cool. Take a question from Jason here. Jason is asking, what's been the toughest time you've had with getting releases for your broadcast on location? When I go on location, if I'm outside of the location, I don't need location releases. If I'm inside the location, it's usually just talking to the ownership or management
right
of getting that release, and also making sure you're posting releases on every door, saying live television show in taping. And I used to have to do this for years when I go do nightclub tapings and put up that there is a live television show taping. By entering the premises, you are giving us rights to film you. Will it hold up in court?
Yeah, but people know.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, every one of my DJs that is a resident DJ on my show, they sign a personal release form to come on. And,
now is that, you know what? No more questions for him, Jason. Wait till he come on our show. Because I was about to go in interview mode.
We're going to flip the script.
More.
No, but yeah, I'd be more than happy to answer. But basically, it's just making sure everyone's clear, and will a verbal agreement from somebody to somebody saying, "Hey, would you like to do this interview?" or an email saying, "Would you like to do this interview?" and that person says, "Yes, I would." You're now giving them a release. You're saying, "I am coming to perform." Now, of course, I don't go out and do some Larry Flynn stuff,
right.
Anyone, and do some crazy stuff like that. I try to keep it respectful. I mean, I think I've only had, even with my frenemies, I should say now are my ardent fans, which I have switched. I don't negatively say enemies. I say my ardent fans, the ones who love me the most, who can't stop talking about me the most out there. Even they have not come to me and asked me to pull down their episodes.
Yeah.
They've been on my show in the past when we were friends. I've only had 1-2 people that I can really recall that ever asked me to pull down the episodes. One DJ didn't like his mix. And I'm like, not really, dude, because it's a live show. It wasn't a bad mix. He didn't train wreck too bad. But the other one was this girl, and she didn't like the way the lighting was on her or something. She wanted me to pull it down. And I finally just said, whatever. I just wasn't going to deal with it. But after doing this for so long, if you're coming on a show, you're going to be on a show, you kind of know you're already kind of given release.
Right.
I've never had anyone say, can I see the interview before you? Once out of over 2,300 episodes that we've done for the DJ sessions, I think I've had one person say, can I see
Wait. Say that number again.
2,300.
I got some catching up to do.
Actually, hang on a second here. I'll get you.
You pulling up accurate numbers right now.
The accurate number. Because we got about 5 episodes to upload to the site right now, which will put us at
2,305.
No, it should put us at. Oh, come on, load here. Where are you at? Where's the counter? Oh, there's my counter. Put me 2,300, probably 2,385 episodes.
Nice.
Yeah. Now that is that can be very confusing though to some people, and I'll tell you why. See, when you do an episode, you'll do an interview, one episode. Like you and I doing this right now, that's going to be one episode.
Right, one.
But when we were doing the DJ sessions and we filmed for 4 hours, and I had 4 DJs on in those 4 hours, each one of those were its own separate
shows. Yeah.
So then we started using silent disco or silent concert technology, and I could film 3 DJs, 3 DJ booths at the same time for 4 hours, giving me 12 episodes.
Nice.
But I increased my DJ time for all DJs. They now play for 2-hour sets. So now one episode would be a 2-hour long DJ set or a 1-hour interview with you. And so
Okay.
here's my street corner, Third and Crime. Yeah, here we go. One, two,
Yeah, sound like New
three
York.
going down. How many cops does it take to bust somebody in Seattle? Three cops going down Third Avenue Day. Probably pick a fourth one up here in a moment. I live on literally okay. If there was the equivalent of living in Times Square and
Ah.
taking the analogy of here's Times Square, New York, Manhattan, and
Mm-hmm.
here's downtown Seattle, and here's our shopping district, Times Square area. I live on the corner of Times Square, the penthouse unit, Times Square, on the 6th floor. Short little building, but on
Ah.
the penthouse of Times Square. And
Wow.
this street corner was known as we're going to digress for a minute. It was known for years, ever since I was a kid, as the worst street corner in downtown Seattle. Third and Crime, aka the Blade, aka I came and named it. It's Third and Pine. I came and named it Third and Crime. I'd made a website for it, put live streaming cameras out there, put a police scanner on it. So if anything went down, I would have news story before breaking news stories.
Before breaking.
I'd be out there with my phone up top with 1,000 views watching on Facebook. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I've been up here for
Love that you're a techie. Oh
Yeah.
man, that's good. I'm actually in school right now, going to film school.
Nice.
Looking to
Nice.
be a little better in the craft and really getting into the documentary style of filming because there's a lot of stories like you just said. That area is a story
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people, now I know about it.
I think I've been on the evening news like three or four times.
Mm.
I get down there whenever they see the news crews. I'll run down and be like, "Okay, what happened? What do you guys want to talk about? I'll talk to you. I'll be on the news." And,
You ain't got your hairnet and in your
No.
slippers, right?
No, I actually have wore my slippers down. I wore my pajamas down before. I was walking to go to the store to get something like, "Oh hey," and I actually made a good press contact out of it. I'm like, "Hey AJ, you're back here doing a story? Cool, put me on." I'll call the reporters by their first name now. But it's been cleaned up since then. It's not as bad.
Right.
I mean, if
Okay.
Jason knows. Jason should know the area. If he comes to downtown Seattle, he knows the Blade. But that's not
Funny.
music news. That's nothing to do with DJs.
Yeah, nothing to do with us. We
but,
just kind of veered.
Yeah, see, here comes the fire. And they use Third Avenue as the thoroughfare because First Avenue you can't go down, Second Avenue is one way, Third Avenue is both ways, and then Fourth Avenue is one way, Fifth Avenue is one way. So they can't use those ways to get up and down. They have to use Third Avenue. So it's constantly down our street right by here. Like, yeah, okay,
Jason, though, he laughing.
chopping his ass off. So, anyways, back to the music, back to the grind. Um, where would you like to see if you could envision yourself? Where would you like to see the DJ interview in 5 years?
I'd love the DJ interview to be a worldwide event where DJs can just come on live in a studio and do their thing. They get flown down. I'm going off the deep end now. They get flown down. They're in the green room. I got a hotel right there where they can stay at. But I'd love to see it just grow and get those bigger name DJs. Also, sticking to the roots, to the DJs that people don't know, because how are people gonna know them if they don't get exposed? All the main DJs we talked about, your Jazzy Jeffs, your Nasty Ness, and all of them, they get that notoriety. That DJ that was out 40 years in a little area, say, Tacoma, and just that area, nobody else knows them outside of Tacoma. And Jason lives in, what did he say, Lake Ridge? Lakewood.
Mhm.
And nobody knows him there or her. I just want this thing to grow, and I'm going to keep doing it while I'm having fun at it.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I think that's always at the core from my first broadcast series, Phantasmagoria, where we showed short films by local independent producers on broadcast television we could take that film. I actually was the first film to go on my first show because I realized I made this short film while I was in college, and I was going to go screen it at a theater.
Right.
And I thought, how many people am I going to really get to see this film? 100
in the theater, in the local theater.
And there was no social media at the time.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like I had 5,000 friends on Facebook and go come check out my film. So I had this idea for the television show I'd been working on in the back end before all this. And I said, what if I put my show on broadcast television? And then I go, well, that would put me in front of at least 13,000 people, because that's how many people were watching TV on channel KCBQ 13 here in Seattle at 1:30 in the morning. Okay. And then I said, well, that takes care of episode 1. What am I going to do for the next 12? And so I went around and started finding other short filmmakers and pitching the idea, like, your short film is going to be played on this broadcast television show in front of thousands of people. And we barely had you can go back to the Wayback Machine and look up the Phantasmagoria, spelled with a T, PHANTAZMAGORIA.TV, and see the first ever website I had in 2001 or maybe 2002.
Wow.
Talking about our broadcast series on Fox here in Seattle. And then later on, we revamped the brand because we came out with Image Nightlife and Northwest Extreme Sports, but we revamped the entire brand to ITV. And how we came up with ITV was our focal point was featuring independent artists and businesses. It was about a way to give the little guy from the street who does not get media attention like the national stories, and give them some publicity throughout the region. All of Western Washington, King 5 or the Q13, the stations go from border to border, pretty far in that area, over like 2 million homes. Even though we were only going to be seen by 13 to 15,000, but we always climbed up to the top of the Nielsen ratings when we aired our shows. But again, once I came back to podcasting, that really opens it up to the world. And when we were one of the first video podcasts in the iTunes store, when they launched the video podcast section, when the video iPod came out, so that opened up. Everyone was saying, we're going to download content and get on our video iPod. The TV stations hadn't even released their stuff yet. So it's like video. And it's that international appeal is what you can do with a podcast, of taking somebody that's totally hyper local. Yeah. But somebody in Germany could be watching them. Mm-hmm. Somebody in Australia could be watching them. That was such more of a massive, and for a much lower cost. Yeah. And then what it would cost to air shows on broadcast television, plus the marketing, plus the production cost, plus all that stuff. Yeah. It was, oh, wow, we got instant distribution. And that video lives there forever. It doesn't go on once and go away. Yeah. So it's amazing to see, obviously we've seen the shift in TV go to Hulu and Netflix and on, all that on demand, even live streaming. You wonder how long TV is really going to stay around for.
Yeah, it's crazy because I probably watch one show. I like that show, The Rookie. And that's probably all I watch on TV, on regular TV, because I don't like commercials. I got the YouTube. I actually pay for YouTube, so I don't get all the commercials instead of waiting the 3 or 4 seconds, which takes forever for me. So I pay, so I don't see no commercials. And you can watch anything on there. They got movies. I'm a big Kung Fu fan, so they got all my karate movies with the Wu-Tang and all that. So I don't know how much longer they are gonna be viable.
Yeah, I mean, because the money's just dried up from it. Yeah, I mean, it's you can put the shows on demand, and that's great. But the thing is, the on demand. I mean, that came out when the Comcast boxes came out. You could record your shows and have them. Yeah. Jason, you're absolutely right. What we can do now, I talked about this with my friend Giorgio Brown, who I started in the industry with in '92. He's like, I had to take the VHS. I mean, I was right there with him. He'd have to take the VHS camera out to the nightclub. Then we could go to the public access studio. We got 1 hour to edit on the edit machines of the public access studio. And he'd get his 30 minutes or 1 hour a week to put the episode on. And it was in 95 when I introduced him to a friend of mine and got him his own kind of editing studio at home. Live, it was actually a full live streaming editing studio. We could go to an event and multicam live at the event, but he could also come back home and live edit back at home with one tape in this VCR and one tape in this VCR. And while it's playing, he could switch them over using the live editing.
That's dope.
And then go back and forth and make the episodes, to cut them down. But it was painstaking. And I was stuck in that model up until, like I said, about 2005. I'd get all this footage, but I have a 30-minute block that I could put on broadcast television. So it trained me to go in and get what I like to call a 1-to-1. I'm pretty much at a 1-to-2. When I shoot, that 1 minute I'm shooting, I'm probably going to give a 15-second handle on each end, and that 30 seconds in between is going to be the shot that I want. If I need 10 shots to make a 3-minute segment, I'm going to go out and I'm going to do 10 shots, maybe 12, maybe 15 shots. Come back, I know I got the good footage, rather than just shooting for 2 hours and then come back and try to pull the good pieces in of what I saw.
Nice.
And that's just definitely a pre-production thing to know going in. Something you maybe, I don't know if you've gone over this with you in film school, but most people shoot at a 1-to-8. 8 minutes of footage for 1 good minute of footage. But if you go in and you go, this is what I want to cover.
We ain't got that far yet, but this is good education for me. We need to talk about this offline too, because
absolutely,
I'm really getting into this thing. It trains you that way. Yeah, Jason.
The difficult thing is that I see a lot of independent producers do is they fall in love with their footage. They don't standardize. They don't set a bar that says, I'm allowed to be lazy now. I've put in my dues. I can get a little lazy, a little funky with stuff. And I'm like, okay, cool. It's a lot. That's what I love about live shows. Anything goes. If my green screen falls down behind me in the show, I'm not editing it out. I'm like, oops, it fell down. I guess we're just
that's it. Going. That's what I love about live. Whatever you get, you get.
Yeah, what you see is what you get, and that's it. And it's done. It's in the can. It's ready to go. Just churn it and push it out. Keep this mechanism going, because in a sense, I have audience members to feed. And if I wait a week, in my mind, if I wait a week for an episode to come out, they got many other channels and many other things they can find to start doing with their life. But if I'm going, here's 2-3 episodes a day, every day. And then like a recap is what our new format will be. It'll be interviews during the week and then a whole recap of all the interviews that happen during the week on Fridays.
Yeah.
I usually take Saturdays and Sundays off now. I have a schedule so I can.
I seen when you sent me your calendar. No Saturday, no Sunday.
No,
I don't
Saturday,
even think you did Fridays.
No, Fridays, because that's when we do our mobile. Well, the thing is, our events that we do, our mobile sessions are on Fridays, our mobile sessions are on Saturdays, and our silent concert events are supposed to be on Sundays. So that's a time when I have to be out in the field putting these events. That's 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
Getting up, getting ready, getting gear out there, getting up, setting up, doing the show for 4 hours, breakdown, get back home. That's a whole 8-hour block. I can't be doing it unless the people are coming out on site and I'm doing interviews with them on site. But I don't even want to do that. My mind's already worried about live streaming and production. Trust me, it's very easy to burn out in this game.
Oh yeah,
very, very easy.
That's why I said you got to take that hiatus when sometime you do. I know I had to because it was just way too much, and I'm only talking about one interview, and you talking about 1,500 in 3 days.
No, I don't do 1,500 interviews in 3 days. No, not 1,500 days. Although I am headed off to a conference here where I'm probably going to be doing, we're anticipating up into 20 to 25 interviews a day for 7 days.
Whew, wait.
Yeah, maybe even more than that. But they're going to be shorter interviews. We'll probably do like 15, 20-minute pieces as opposed to hour-long interviews. I'll lose my voice after 3 days.
For real. When I first started, that's what happened to me, because when I first started in June of 2020, the DJ interview, I did 30. June is National Music and Music Month and DJ Month. So I did 30 straight DJs. By day 2, my voice was crackling and I had one of my friends, he's a professional speaker. He was like, don't stop talking. Because I'm like, I didn't want to say nothing else. And I still had 28 more people to deal with.
Oh,
And
dang.
then Grand Mixer DXT, who I told you, he was actually day 30. We spent 3 hours and 50 something minutes till I lost my voice.
Oh my
That was
that
like the finale of that. And then I took a 2 week break and then
yeah.
I started again.
Yeah, that's why I know now
Whoo
to
wee.
take a break in
Yeah.
between, stay hydrated, keep those throat lozenges next to you,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you're out there on the red carpet. You gotta keep going. But Harry, is there anything you'd like to let our DJ Sessions fans know about your series before we let you go?
Yeah, the DJ interview is looking for you. Those
Okay.
DJs who are and you can get with me with this. Some people are scared of the camera. Don't be. This thing is nothing.
Yep.
I want you guys to come on and tell your story, especially the ones that's getting into the DJ business and the ones that's been a veteran for some years. Tell your story.
Yeah, it's when you say camera shy. I remember when we first started the show, and the first DJs I would get on, they were not used to being in front of the camera. I've been playing with
Right.
video cameras since I was 6 years old. Literally 42 years I've been playing with video cameras.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't ever camera shy. I just never wanted to be in front of the camera. I wanted to be behind the camera
Right.
doing the shooting or the executive producing. But you get these DJs on and be like, so tell us about what you got coming up this weekend. I got a show.
Yeah.
Okay, when's the show going to be?
Oh man, I get that.
Okay, who else is playing with you? So and so.
You gotta pull teeth.
And I'm like,
you gotta pull
okay,
teeth.
well,
Like,
okay, great.
okay.
But
Can you
after
be a
like
little more long-winded?
after about the sixth or seventh time of them coming on the show, they finally got it. They go back and they watch it and they go, "Wow, I really didn't say much." I go, "No, you didn't. Come on, bring it up a little bit more here." And then they started getting it. But where's the best place people can go to find out information about what you're doing, what's going on? Best place to go to.
One of the places you can go is Instagram at the DJ interview. You can find me all over Twitter, Facebook, either Harry the Big Dog or the DJ interview. And you'll find me. And we'll get this thing going. Darren, we're gonna reach out to you for our other two shows, with a DJ interview and our other Mastering Your Media show. And this has been dope, bro. I mean, the time went fast.
It does go really fast. Sometimes I'm sitting there and I'm in an interview and I'm 17 minutes in and I'm already 7 questions out of my 15 down. I'm like, oh crap, this is going, oh no. But then something just starts clicking and it starts to roll and it starts to go. And but I want to say thank you for coming on the DJ Sessions. I want to give a shout out to Jason in the chat room. I'm going to give Kev Norman a shout out as well. Howie, thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate y'all watching. And, obviously you're following the DJ interview, you're following Harry, but also follow the DJ Sessions as well. So don't forget to go to our website, thedjsessions.com. Find us on Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Meta. Find us on, actually, we now have Roku, Amazon Fire, Google Play, soon to be Apple TV. Check out our VR nightclubs in Altspace. They're actually in soft launch right now, but getting ready to grand open here soon.
Oh, yes.
But everything is
That's
at our...
something else we got to talk about, the VR stuff.
VR is awesome.
Man.
That's the next bastion. That's the next thing.
Yes,
the next branding opportunity. I think if people get on now, they can really start building an awesome audience there with the people that are going there and then become bigger within VR, which would help their outside podcasting or social brands as well. Again, we'll talk about that when we're flipping it around, when I'm on your shows. But basically, everything at our website, thedjsessions.com. This is Darren. That's Harry the Big Dog coming to you from St. Louis. I'm coming from the virtual studios in Seattle, Washington for the DJ Sessions. And remember, on the DJ Sessions, the music never stops.